You never cared for me like I cared for you. You never cared for me like I cared for you. You never cared. You never cared. That's alright.
You don't have to tell lies.
That's alright.
You don't have to.
That's alright.
You don't have to tell lies.
That's
You don't have to.
You never cared for me like I cared for you. You never cared for me like I cared for you.
Things would be different. You know?
That's alright.
I just wanted to survive.
That's alright.
I just want to.
That's alright.
But you left me behind.
That's alright.
I left you.
You never cared. You never cared. You never cared. You never cared.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? It's the Tamale Mafia Podcast, the place where everything and nothing collide. I'm your host, Aaron. And it is Friday in the Tamale Mafia universe. How you guys doing? Oh, it's been a week. It has been quite a week. Yes, sir. It's been quite a week. So how are you guys doing? Everybody's hanging in there? I haven't talked to you since Monday, so I feel like it's been forever. We're gonna have to start taking advantage of the Wednesday opportunity, right? I had some things I wanted to talk about Wednesday, but I was like, well, I don't know, because I'm not too sure what I have to talk about on Friday, so I better save this And rather than do 2 short episodes, a short one on Wednesday, and then, I mean, it wouldn't be a short one. I'd find something to talk about, but I don't know. I just decided to save it. But hey, how about that opening music, huh? How about that? That was a song called "Cared All Right" by my good friend Lim, Limn. Dude's got some great music, man. If you just want to like just sit back and chill, and you know, I don't know about if you like meditate or if you, whatever your thing is, you know, if you smoke something or eat something, and you want to sit back and just let the music take you where it will. I mean, the dude's got some great tunes to get you there. That's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah, so I don't know that he'll appreciate me saying that. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Oh well, it's been said. I just think the music is trippy. That's all I'm trying to say. The music is trippy, and you know, it might help you relax. You know, you might let it take you on a little journey. Oh, that happened to me one time. I've never really been into drugs. Okay, I've never done drugs, like recreational drugs. I had there was times that I used when I was like really depressed and stuff and going through a hard time. I would use a lot of prescription painkillers, not for pain, but just to like pass out. And so that was kind of a no, I think, on my part, because I was abusing them basically. So I try to steer clear of that stuff. But there was one time that I had some kind of massage in it was like I can't remember what it was called, but it was like a trigger point kind of thing. And it was not like a relaxing spa-ish massage. I mean, it happened at a spa, but this thing was like painful, right? This girl she had, I don't know if she used her elbow or her fingers, or it felt like a hammer, basically. I don't know what she was using, but dude, she would find these points on my legs or my back, my shoulders, my neck, wherever. She would find these points that I guess I had like a knot or something. And boy, she would just fucking dig in and put as much pressure as she could. And then the thing is that she would say, okay, I'm going to push until it hurts, right? And then I will slowly release the pressure, and then you let me know when it stops hurting. And what happened was that was releasing all kinds of, I don't know if it was toxins or endorphins, or there was some chemicals in my body that this process was releasing. And at first I was with it. I was like, okay, oh yeah, that hurts really bad. And then, okay, yeah, okay, it stopped hurting. All right. And then she would go on to the next point. She would find this other point and she would do it again. And eventually I started tripping out, man. I was zooming. I was like in a cartoon, my brain went into a Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner cartoon. And I was in the desert with like a rabbit, some kind of talking purple bunny or something, and we were going through the desert, but we were cartoons. I mean, it was fucking way out there. And she kept bringing me back, you know, because I would forget to tell her when to stop applying the pressure, or when the pressure was it was okay to move on to the next point, because I wasn't even in the room. I wasn't like mentally, I wasn't aware that something was even happening to my body, because my brain was out in the middle of a desert somewhere with this talking purple bunny. It was fucking wild, man. And she kept bringing me back like, hey, okay, how does that feel? Okay, move on to the next point or whatever. I'm going to move on. Okay. Hey, come back to me. You know, I don't know where I was, probably, you know, rambling, or I don't even know what I was doing. But I'm pretty sure she sees it all the time. Like, that's what that massage does, but I wasn't prepared for it. I just found it on the list. I was just looking at their menu and I was like, Yeah, let's try. I was like, do you have any like 90-minute massages or, 2 hours? And they were like, yeah, we have these. This one's a 90. This one's 120, 120 minutes. This one's, I think I picked one that was like 120 minutes. I just wanted to be in there forever. But it was that. And it was like 2 hours of tripping in the middle of a desert, dude. It was fucking wild. So, anyway, I wish I'd had some Limb to listen to while that was going on. Who knows? Oh, man. That would have been... I probably wouldn't have been in the desert with a purple bunny. I probably would have been in some kind of sci-fi quasi-horror thriller or something. Anyway, so what's going on, man? What happened to my music? Muzak. Where'd it go? There it is. So it's the Tamale Mafia podcast. You guys can check us out. The brand new www.tamalemafia.com. Oh yeah. It's a pretty simple site. But it's really our host site, the pippa.io site. I just masked it with the new address so that it's easier to get to. Eventually, if this thing really continues to build, I'll build a site for it. But in the meantime, it's a good little collective. Has a little bit of information, a couple of links, and all the episodes you can find right there at tamalemafia.com. And it's easier to remember than the other previous information. So you can find us there and then use that to get to the Instagram, I think, the Twitter maybe. You can find me on Facebook or something. I don't know what all links are there, but eventually you can get where you need to go. Really, the important one is go to Facebook and then like the page and then comment and share the links and stuff. I know that's a lot of work. I know I'm asking you for way too much input, but if you like the show and you want the show to continue and you look forward to listening to these episodes, then it only makes sense that you would also want to participate and be part of the team that helps it grow, right? Because here's the deal. Let's get real about this. This thing costs money. Everything we do costs money. I mean, it costs money just to produce this. It's not just the time, but it actually costs money because of the software, the hosting site for the podcast, the equipment, the upkeep. There's pretty much everything online now is a subscription service. So it's just cost. There's cost associated with everything. And the hope is that eventually, I mean, I'm fine with the cost, putting the money into it myself because it's something that I enjoy doing, and I really like having a podcast, and I like having listeners, and so, it's worth it to me. But it would be even more worth it if I had a larger listener base, and even more worth it if my listener base was huge. You know what I mean? So there's like, I'm kind of pushing for that. It's like, I don't mind having one listener. If there was one listener, I would still keep doing it, but I would, much rather have like 1,000 listeners. But just, right now, the thing is growing actually. So I'm not shitting on what we've been able to accomplish here so far, because, we've only been reactivated. Right? Because, I started the podcast last year and I did 12 episodes and then I quit for a year and then I came back. So we've only been reactivated for a couple of months. And in those last couple of months, like our listenership, the downloads and the listens and things like that has gone up consistently. And now it's kind of getting to the point where it's going up consistently by the day. And so what I realized this week, and I don't know if it's because of the episode that I put out. You know, I put out the Shift Bolus was Monday's episode. And I don't know if it's just because of the content. Maybe you guys really like that content from me, and I'm going to continue to put out more of those kind of episodes. But that episode got more traffic in the last couple of days than a regular, previous episodes would have gotten in like a month. So there's like a good momentum there, and it's kind of a good build, and I'm hoping that continues to build. And I'm not going to make every episode like that one, because that was kind of a heavier, more serious episode, and I do want this show to be about nothing. And so I explained kind of some of that, how I want the show to be about everything and nothing at the same time. Which I still don't know if it's doable or not, but we're figuring it out, right? So we got some good little momentum happening and things like that, but it just would be really super cool, like amazing, if you guys would share the links. And I mean, you don't even have to like or comment, or just hit the share button. That would be so super cool. And I think, I've been talking with Paul from the Just Breathe podcast, and we've been talking about that too. Like, how do we get more people to share and engage the content and stuff? And we were talking about incentivizing the share system. So, like, every time you share this, you get entered into a raffle or something, and then we'll give away something stupid or maybe something cool. I don't know. But I'm thinking about doing that. So, yeah. Anyway, rambly about this, about the growth of the podcast. But it's cool. It's cool. I like it. I like the growth of the podcast. Got some really cool stuff coming up soon. Next week, I'm going to finally get down with some more interviews. So there's been a lot of people asking to be on the show and wanting to talk about everything and nothing. And there's been some people that I've wanted to get on the show. And so we are moving towards that next week. We're going to sit down with a whole bunch of folks, and we'll be able to blast out some episodes. That's not just me rambling on, but we'll be able to introduce you to some of my cool friends and some other people that I don't really fully know yet, but that have reached out, and I think we're going to make some good friendships and connections, and have some interesting conversations. And it's really a plethora of people who have a vast array of background and experiences and stuff. So it's just perfect. Like, it really is feeding into the concept of the everything and nothing of the show. So I'm excited about that. And so we will actually be recording those interviews next week, and then over time be able to parse those out. And then you guys can be waiting at the edge of your seat. Like, is this the one? Is this the one where he's going to have a guest? And then you find out it's just me again. And you're like, oh, shit. It's just loser Aaron. And then the next time around, is this the one? Is he going to put out a guest? It is the one. Yes, finally a guest. So anyway, we'll see how that plays out. Another thing I'm excited about is the shift is getting closer. Back in the beginning, when I first introed the shift, basically talking about these changes in my life and how I'm shifting into a new gear, going to the next level, kind of going through some breakthroughs and really pushing forward. And how a big part of that was the fact that I feel like I'm able to recognize that there's some things that I cannot break through because I don't have the tools in my toolbox to do it. But I found the place, I found the group that comes highly recommended and has really helped a lot of my colleagues and friends, a lot of professionals. They've really helped identify blind spots and give you the tools to break through and that kind of stuff. So I am starting that program this month in just a couple of weeks. So I'm getting a little nervous and a little excited because I know it's going to be hard work. I know it's going to be tough. There's the sessions are like extremely long. They put a lot of like a maximum amount of work into a minimum amount of time. So you're really like grinding it out for a few days. And I'm sure it's going to be difficult because I'm sure they're going to point out things and I'm going to realize things that I hadn't even thought of before because that's what they're good at. They're good at recognizing helping you find the things like you don't know what you don't know, right? So there's those three areas, like you know what you know what you don't know, which is where I'm at because I know that I don't know how to break through certain things. I recognize the blind spots. I recognize the barriers, but I don't have the tools to break through them. So I know that I don't know. And then there's this whole other category of things that you don't know that you don't know. You don't have the tools to even recognize that you don't know these things. So they specialize in helping you get to recognize to move, I guess, from the I don't know what I don't know into now I know what I don't know, and then now I know what I know. So they help you kind of dig out of that other pile of things that are in there that you just don't even recognize. So I know it's going to be hard work. And I know it's going to be difficult. So as we get closer to that, I'm going to talk more about it because it's more on my mind. And I'm kind of starting to get a little bit of, not an anxiety, but more like an anxiousness. Like I'm ready to do it, but I'm also kind of scared of it. But like I said in Monday's episode, I have always been like the guy to volunteer to do the things that I'm scared of or to press into the weak points and try to make when I recognize that I have a weakness or a weak point, I just pick at it until I get stronger. So there's been times that I have let fear slow me down or stop me, but not in this case. I mean, I'm nervous about what's going to happen and what I'm going to experience. I'm kind of nervous about the hard work of it. Like, I know they dig into things that are deep emotional and like psychological issues that are buried inside. So I'm super nervous kind of about that stuff, like having to really dig in the past. And I feel like I've done a lot of that on my own, but again, the don't know you don't know thing. So there's going to be things there that they're going to pull out that I'm going to be like, oh my God. And then they're going to do something stupid like, okay, well, you need to call that person and talk to them about it. And then I'm not going to want to do that. But, I just know that that's kind of how those things go and that there's value in it. So I won't shy away from it, but it's just hard work. And you got to be ready to press into it. So here we go, right? It's coming up in a couple weeks. But let's see. Oh, yeah, I want to talk a little bit about Endgame. Not the movie. Okay, no spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie, you're totally safe. I'm not going to talk about the movie. I'm going to talk about my experience going to see the movie. And so let's jam a little bit here, and then we'll talk about some Endgame movie experience. check this out. I'm not going to talk about the movie. Okay, I promise you, I'm not going to talk about the movie itself. I'm not going to talk about anything that I saw on the screen. So you're safe. There's no spoilers here. What I want to talk about is my movie going experience. Because I will go to, or I guess lately we've been spending most of our time at the Studio Movie Grill, which has cheaper tickets but more expensive snacks and food and stuff. So you have these big, cushiony like recliner seats with a little tabletop, and it's all assigned seating, right? So, that's where we've been spending most of our movie going experience lately over the past year, I guess. I don't know, probably. I used to really enjoy the AMC theater. There was one not too far from where I used to live, and it had an IMAX screen, and so I really like watching certain movies in IMAX, especially like Avengers movies, Star Wars movies, things like that, like big epic movies, because the sound system is going to be better. You got bigger screen. I don't really know that the quality is any different, but it's just the bigger screen and the sound, because you really get the rumble in your seat and that kind of stuff. But I guess I got kind of spoiled to the Studio Movie Grill seating or kind of arrangement thing. And even like I've been to another couple of theaters who have those big recliner type seats. And we went and saw Pet Sematary. My buddy and I went and saw Pet Sematary at a theater that I hadn't been to before. And it had like a push button recliner kind of thing. So that was super cool because you could like kick your feet up, and there was nice and roomy, and those kind of setups, they're like in 2-seat sections. So you got like 2 seats and then the space and then 2 seats kind of a deal. They might be in a row. You might get like 4 or 5 or in a row or 6 maybe, I guess. But for the most part, you're not like, and also because the seats are so roomy, you're not bumping elbows with people really at all. So I got kind of spoiled to that, I guess, because this for Endgame, I was like, dude, let's go. I told Dax, let's watch Endgame in IMAX. I hadn't been to an IMAX theater in a long time, so I was like, let's watch Endgame in IMAX, and then we can have the bigger screen and the louder sound system and stuff. And the IMAX theaters are usually huge, so they don't sell out as quick. There's more seating options, so you're not like, all those center seats are sold out, and then you got this like the crappy front row corner seat left or whatever. So there's plenty of seats available, and so we go to the IMAX to watch this thing, and I guess I just forgot how different the seats are, because these are like more traditional seats with the seat back that kind of rocks. You can lean it back, but it doesn't stay there. It just kind of rocks back and forth. And then you've got your armrest with a cup holder, and you're sharing an armrest with the person next to you. So that's the setup, right? And so we purchased these seats that were kind of in the middle of a row, so there's people on both sides of us. And when we first get there, there's a guy, and he's kind of a big guy, and he's on the end seat. And then it was our 2 seats. So he had seat 20, and then we had seats 19 and 18. And so I told Dax, I said, you get 19. I'll take 18 because you're smaller, and that way me and this guy aren't bumping elbows the whole time. I mean, I'm a big guy. Like if you've never met me, you don't know what I look like, I guess. I mean, you probably have seen pictures on the website, or on the Facebook page, I guess. But my shoulders are wide to sometimes the point where certain doorways and stuff I got to kind of maneuver through. And so I like to make fun of that, when I go to a place and I'm like, hey, Dax, watch this. And I can't fit through a doorway and I kind of turn sideways and go through. I make, I kind of feel like the Hulk or whatever. And so I don't stay easily within the confines of a normal seating arrangement like that. So if there's a seat with the armrest or my shoulders are definitely protruding over the armrests easily, right? So I have to kind of sit it and kind of maybe sit sideways a little bit to not totally infringe on the space of the person next to me. And so I think there should be an automatic headspace. You should just know that if you're a fat person or a wide person or a big muscle bound dude or whatever you are, if you're a big person and you're with a smaller person, you put the smaller person between the big person and the next big person, right? So there's a guy, he's a bigger dude. I say, Dax, you take 19 because you're small. I'm 18. I'll sit in chair 18, okay? And there was nobody in 17. So I'm totally taking up half of 17, okay? And just chilling there. And then these people were probably from seat 15 on. I don't even know if they had tickets to this movie because they moved around so much. People kept bumping them. And eventually they found some corner where nobody was sitting. So I don't even know that they had tickets to the theater. They had their own food. They had their own snacks and drinks and stuff. They hadn't even I don't know how they got into theater. I don't know. I didn't call them out because I don't care. But the fact was that they started out 15. So there were 17 and 16 were free. I'm taking up half of 17. And then they got bumped, right? So they come all the way down. Now the guy that comes and sits in 17 is a little skinny dude. So we're good. He's next to him is his girl. He's kind of leaning up on her. And so I still have plenty of arm room in seat 17 area where I'm just totally flying in the seat 17 zone, okay, with my elbow. No problem. Where the problem happens is when this really big girl, wider on the scale than I am, I could probably hide behind her in a hide and go seek situation or an active shooter situation. I would just use her as a shield easily. She came up with a really skinny girl, okay? A really thin, small, skinny girl. And they're trying to figure out where their seats are because they're obviously in seats 17 and 16, but seats 17 and 16 are taken, and they can't figure out if they're even on the right row. And so we're yeah, this is your row. These are your seats. So they kick the people out, right, that were taking their seats, and they come and sit down, and I'm God dang it, do you not see the pattern? Big guy, little guy. Big guy should be little girl, big girl, right? Oh, no. They just come in. Big girl comes and sits in or little girl actually comes in first and takes 16. And then here comes big girl. She can't even fit into 17. She has to back herself in, wiggle side to side. like she's clearing space, she's knocking out trees or whatever she's doing. She backs it in to seat 17, gets about halfway into squat position, and then just falls the rest of the way into the seat with a thud and like a rush of air smacked me in the face, blew my hands in the air, and now since my arms blew up in the air, she has got her whole left arm tucked into my ribs. I'm talking like, forget the armrest even exists. There's no armrest anymore. It's been taken over. And there I have a cup that is somewhere in the armrest that I'm not sure where it landed, because I don't see the armresting. There's no more armrest. There's just body. And this chick has completely invaded all of my entire rib cage. And now, if I'm going to put my arm down, I'm either going to set my elbow on her shoulder, or I'm going to, I guess if I came straight down with my elbow, I would land, like somehow end up on top of her arm, maybe with my elbow in her boob, which I was not okay with. I'm not putting my elbow in a stranger large girl's boob area. Okay, I'm not going to be accused of. I'm not going home in handcuffs just because somebody decided to sit in the wrong seat. Listen, you're completely digging into my rib cage, and I'm just like, I'm lost now. My arm's in the air, and all I can do is take over Dax's seat, right? And so he's in 19, and I just lean myself all the way into his seat, and like I lean over all the way to my left, and then there's enough space between my ribs and her arm now that I can kind of just place my arm down and grabbed my own shirt collar up by my chin, right, with my fist, and and this is where I sit now, with my arm like tucked up against myself, my elbow against her bicep, I guess, and her hip, side rolls, and arm flab tightly tucked up against me. And the armrest is in there somewhere, screaming for help, and my cup happened to just be like floating in a no man's zone somewhere around her belly region. And so I was able to still find my cup and take occasional drinks, and then very carefully try to figure out where exactly the cup holder was, and then put my cup back in the cup holder. And so I was like, dude, this is not proper etiquette for movie theater seating of this type, okay? Big guy, little guy. Big guy, little girl, big girl. We would have been fine. Had the little girl sat, I mean, she wasn't a little child. She was a grown woman, but she was small, a small person. Had she sat in seat 17 and Mount Rushmore sat in seat 16, we would have been fine. And I would have had no complaints. And I even told Dax, I said, do they not see the pattern here? Do they not understand? I mean, look, now I'm like taking over half of his seat because I'm so leaned over because of what was happening on my right-hand side. And I go, do they not see? This is not proper. Do they not understand? We even set the pattern for them. I mean, how do you not see this? How do you not get this? You're a grown-ass person. This is the first time you've been to a movie theater? I doubt it. You're so used to just backing your way into your seats that you don't have any concern or care for who's around you. You're just like, here I come, I'm coming in. And you just launch yourself halfway down and just slam into your seat. I mean, okay, I'm not hating on anybody. I'm not hating on her, okay? I'm a big person. I'm not hating on the fact that she was big, but she was really big and just had very little care or concern for the fact that she was taking over my entire right side. She didn't even say, excuse me. She didn't say, can I tuck my arm fat into your side fat? No, she didn't. She just tucked it on in. Oh, man. And then it gets, okay, not that it gets worse, but it got worse, I guess, because we were in the previews, okay, and some people come in behind us and sit down. Now, these people come in like they're like on a safari through the jungle or something. Like, I imagine the guy was whacking weeds with a machete. They're calling out to each other, over here, our seats are over here. You know, and there's stomping happening. There's stuff being dropped. There's conversation taking place. I hear something clank, clink, clank, clank, fall down, clank, clink, clank. And it was apparently this lady's earring, and it fell under my seat or something. Anyway, they're trying to find it. They're shining they're using their phone's flashlights, trying to shine it on, just find this. I dropped my earring. Oh my God. And we are in previews. Okay. I like previews. I like to see the preview, and I like to know what's coming. To me, the preview is part of the movie experience. It's not like the advertisements that happen before the previews. Fuck those. I mean, who cares? You can walk around, you can talk, you can use your cell phone, you can throw paper airplanes. I don't give a fuck, because it's just the local advertisements and stuff, and they play the little quizzy games or whatever. Who cares? But once the previews start, this is part of my movie going experience. I want to experience the preview for the upcoming movie in IMAX. I feel like I paid for this experience, you know? It's part of it for me. And then these people are just talking. There's got a little kid with them, okay? This little girl, Ellie, I think was her name. Here's when I knew we were in trouble, okay? The preview for the new Star Wars film comes up, okay? It says Lucas film or Lucas, whatever. That little thing that pops up. And I'm like, yes. And then the very first scene is Rey, right? In this preview, the very first scene that you see is Rey. There's not a lot of sound. There's not a lot of anything happening. It's just her standing in a desert or something. Here's what I hear behind me. Rey. Okay, good. You recognize who it is. Then, that's the girl from, 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 dude, for like almost the entire preview. That's what was happening behind my head. That's the girl from, I'm like, you, it's fucking Star Wars, okay? Somebody tell this kid it's fucking Star Wars. And I don't want to yell out because I don't want to be super rude. I'm waiting. I'm like hoping her parents will be like, Star Wars, kid, Star Wars, okay? It's Star Wars. That's your answer that you're looking for. That's the girl from, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be the whole movie. The whole movie is going to be, that's the guy from, that's the guy from, oh my God, I was right. I mean, that's how it was. The whole movie is, why did he do that? Mama, why did she say that? Daddy, who's that? Why did he do that? Daddy, who's that guy? Who is he, bad or good? I'm just like, did nobody give this kid a YouTube video and let her catch up? That's what I did. I hadn't seen half of the movies in the MCU universe, but I really, really wanted to watch this movie because it's a big deal, and I missed a lot of the like, what do they call them? Character movies in between or whatever. Like I'd seen the Avengers movies, but I had missed some of the movies in between. So I just went to YouTube, bam, caught up, got who all the characters were, saw what happened. Okay, missed that part, got that. I'm good. No, this kid, nobody showed her a YouTube video. She was trying to catch up while the movie was happening. And the parents are sitting there talking to her, trying to tell her, explain to her the movie. I'm like, dude, who does this? The whole time. And now, apparently, the mother had short bladder issues because she went to the bathroom. And I only know this because she would announce that she was going to the bathroom to her husband and kid, I guess, and then stomp her way like she's, again, going through a jungle, and then a few minutes later come back, and then like 30 minutes later, I gotta go to the bathroom again. I mean, I'm talking like just talking out in the open. And so the mom went to the bathroom like probably 5 times during the movie. The kid went twice. I was just like, this is, I understand we're in a public theater. Anybody's welcome. Anybody that pays, apparently, maybe they don't have to pay. I don't know what was up with this theater. But people are going to bring their kids. People that talk are going to be there, whatever. But this was just like exceptionally annoying because I was really looking forward to this movie. And it didn't ruin the movie for me. It was just annoying. It was just like, dude, can you just not? Can you stop talking? Can somebody tell this kid we'll explain it later? Just shut up and watch the movie. It's fucking Star Wars. Okay, that's the answer that you were looking for. Anyway, I don't know, man. So look. If you're going to the movie theater, fat guy, little guy, fat guy, little girl, fat girl, little girl. Fat guy, little guy. You gotta follow the pattern, man. It only makes sense. And if your damn kid is gonna get stuck on that's the girl from, will you just answer the question? Just finish it for her. Finish it for her. Okay? That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do. When we come back, I'm going to talk about yet another restart to yet another problem I've been having, okay? Stay tuned. All right. So here's the deal, man. I am kicking off another attempt. I don't want to talk about it like that. Like I got to be careful with not having defeating words in my here we go again. Here I'm going to try this one more time. It's not like that. It's just talking talking about being a bigger guy, I'm not ashamed of my overall size, okay? I'm okay with my width, and I'm okay with like my muscle structure, my bone structure, and all this stuff. I'm not big bone. I know that doesn't exist. That's just a thing. But I'm broad, and I think I have a good muscle tone or structure underneath the layer of fat, right? So I got to rip off this layer of fat, and then I will be like a little Hulk, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with being Hulk shaped. I'll never be wafy, or I don't have any intention of being a scrawny dude. That's not in my wheelhouse. I don't mind being hulky. I like it, actually. I prefer it. But at the same time, I don't want to be fat. And so I've gained some weight. I've put on some pounds, been eating terribly. And so it's time. It's time to get back in there. I have a gym membership. I was going to the gym. I quit going to the gym because my work schedule got a little wonky. It's evened out now, so I'm ready to get back in the gym. I got back on schedule this week, so that's good. And then also it's been my allergy season, so that's really draining. I don't know if you suffer with allergies, but sometimes it's just really exhausting and draining. And so my energy level has been pretty in the dumps. But while that's been happening, I've been focusing on my intake, right? So even if I'm like, okay, I'm not working out, but I still can focus on what I'm eating. And so I've cut out a lot of stuff. I've made a lot of changes in the process of cleaning it up even more. Part of my problem is the going out. I love to eat. I love food. I love experiencing food. I don't want my food experiences to be like miserable. So when I go out to eat, I don't want to be in misery, like chewing on a piece of celery when there's chips and salsa in front of me or whatever. Like I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I am not going to sacrifice my experience because, gains. It's just, I'm not that person, and I'm not going to do it. So I don't want to be miserable in my food choices. And so but I do need to eat more. I need to have a cleaner diet, and I need to make better choices when I'm in a place where I can put up with some misery, like my daily routine where I'm not going out. And also I need to work out more. So, and then the last piece of that would be increasing my water intake. And so, I'm working on cleaning up my diet. My water intake is always going to be a struggle until it becomes a habit. So, I haven't attacked that one yet. But I do need to, I feel my body kind of craving change. And so I've started to make small changes, like that little snowball rolling thing. And so when you start to make small changes, those little small changes start to build up momentum, and then you start making a few more changes, and then a few more changes, and then next thing you know, you're making bigger changes. And so that's kind of where I've been making some small changes, and now I'm kind of rolling into bigger changes. And one of the things that I started doing was, I'm in the very first stage of integrating intermittent fasting into my lifestyle. So right now I'm doing 12 and 12, right? Which I know is not ideal, but for me, it's a good place to start. And so I'm doing 12 of eating and then 12 of not eating. And then eventually I'll whittle that down to 8 and 16, I guess. Probably, and then maybe even 6 and 18. I don't know if I can get that crazy with it, but I think 12 and 12 is a good place to start. So basically I eat all my food within 12 hours of each other. So it's a little difficult with my work schedule that changes. And so I'm not being super strict with it, where I'm like, I have to eat by 7 a.m. and I have to quit by 7 p.m. because sometimes my work schedule is in a different rhythm. and so I'm a little fluid, but I still try to make it like 7 to 7, 8 to 8, 9 to 9, something like that. And then so far I have not gone past 9 o'clock. So 9 o'clock being the latest that I'll eat. And then I did have one day where I was like, I didn't eat by 9 o'clock because I think I was working. Yeah, my work schedule. So my last meal that I had at work was like my lunch, which was probably around 6 o'clock. And then I didn't eat at 9 o'clock, but I didn't get home till like 11 o'clock. And I just went to bed. I was just exhausted and I didn't feel like eating. I wasn't going to eat at 11 o'clock. So I just didn't get that last meal in. But, you know, it's worked out pretty good. I feel pretty good. I noticed a change like in how I feel, like my hunger levels and stuff. And I'm not like craving a midnight snack because I've already like conditioned myself to not do that. Like, okay, it's this is my last food. And so I've been sticking with that and it's working pretty good. I don't know if it's going to result in any weight loss, but I feel pretty good about it. But I know that I need to get a little tighter with it. So, that's coming, and then jumping back into working out. So I'll start that again this week. And then, Dax is really on me because he's signed up for football next year and he needs to start working out and he wants to get a little bigger. And so, I'm like, yeah, dude, we're going to work out this summer for sure. So I got him to motivate me as well. So you guys can be a part of that path as we get back into this thing. And that's just another part of the shift because, you know, one of the things that I think about, if I wake up at 2 a.m, I think about how I need to lose weight. If I wake up at, it doesn't matter when I'm going to bed, when I'm waking up, when I'm walking around. The only time that I don't think about how I need to lose weight is when I'm eating, which is like the time that I should be thinking about it. But anyway, it's been a long haul. Been probably my whole life. I've only had a few times where I've been in pretty good shape. Mostly when I was doing athletics. I was in really good shape, and then, I just love food so much, man. Food it's just something to be experienced, and I just love it. So anyway, that's the deal with that. Okay, I'm gonna take another quick break, and here's the deal. I'm gonna tell a story that's really, it's a wild story, and it's not. It's a little bit difficult to tell. It's not a sad. Well, it is a sad story. I guess it can be. Anyway, it's a story about a squirrel. Okay, and it's not a great story, but it's kind of funny. But it's also just kind of crazy, and you don't have to listen to it if you don't want to. Okay, that's why I put it at the end. Put it at the end because you've already got all the information you really need. This story is just for me to get it out there. So if you don't want to hear the story of the squirrel, then you can punch out now. We'll catch you next week. But if you hang in there, you're gonna hear a story that is. I mean, I've never experienced anything like this before in my life, and I hope I never have to experience anything like it again. This squirrel that will haunt me forever. It's coming up right after this. Hang in there. For more about the Tamale Mafia podcast, head on over to www.tamalemafia.com. Check us out there. Give us a follow on Instagram or Facebook. Give us a like on Facebook. Share. All right, the squirrel story coming up in just a few minutes. I've given you enough time to make a decision on whether you want to hang around or not. Again, this is your last chance, man. Not really. I mean, you can get most of the way through the story and be like, "Wow, that's wild." But it does just kind of. It's one of those things that just kind of keeps getting worse as it goes on. So, here's what happened. I was grabbing my breakfast before work, and my mom was outside, and she comes to the door and she says, "I need your help." Okay. But she's got like a sound of desperation and anxiety and like panic in her voice. So I'm thinking something bad has happened. And so I go, what's up? And then she's like, I need you to get the dogs in. They've got a squirrel trapped in your truck. Okay. And I'm like, oh my God. So my yard is a no-fly zone for any kind of creature because my dogs are assassins. And they will brutally attack or attempt to attack just any living creature that's not human, okay? Humans they're fine with, but like birds, cats, rats, possums, squirrels, I mean, any of that kind of stuff, good luck, dude. You're on your own, okay? You're taking your life into your own hands when you step into this yard. And so the dogs had cornered the squirrel. The squirrel had gone into the rim of my truck, okay? So I have a Ford, and it's got Ford rims. And the squirrel went into the rim and was like inside running around in circles or kind of like hanging out in there. And it was barking its head off back at the dogs. And so I get the dogs inside, and then my mom was like, leave it alone. She just left it alone, right? And I came back inside to finish my breakfast, and I was thinking, like, the squirrel's going to see that the dogs are clear, and he's going to make a run for it. Now, my truck was parked nowhere near a group of trees or anything, so they must have chased the squirrel full across the yard, and he just was like, the nearest thing he could find was my truck rim, I guess. How he ended up, I mean, he picked a horrible spot. I don't know how he ended up in there or why he chose that or where he even came from, but this was a bad situation for him. He was having a really bad morning. And so I finished my breakfast, and then I went back outside, and I heard this little dude still barking. And I go look at my rim, and he's still in there. He's just like sitting on the rim inside, just with one eyeball looking out of the holes, one of the slots. He's just like looking at me, and he's just barking his head off. I'm like, dude, you got to get out of there. I mean, I got to go to work. And so He's not budget. I mean, I don't know how to get him out. I can't reach in there and grab him. I'm kind of half thinking maybe he got himself in there in a panic and now he can't get himself out because he realizes he's bigger than the slot, or he, won't fit back the other way. It's only a one-way trip. I don't know. And so I was like, dude, I'm just going to wash him out. Right. So I get the hose and I walk over and I start spraying him, and spraying him in the butt, right, in the butt region, so he can like, oh God, there's water behind me. Let me get out of here. And he's just like not having it. He doesn't care. So I'm just hitting him with water, and he just runs around the rim like he's on a little hamster wheel. He just runs around the rim, running away from the water and barking at me. I'm like, dude, no, you got to get out. And so at one point he stuck his head out of the slot, his whole head, and was looking at me. And I'm like, yes, run. Go. Now's your chance, dude. Make a break for it. Run. And he didn't do anything but go back in. And he's just running in a circle. And so I take the hose and I start hitting him with it. Not hitting him, but poking him, like on the backside and the belly and stuff, wherever I can get to. Poking him with the hose, the end of the hose, like, hey, I'm going to try to make this uncomfortable for him and get him out of there. And he will not come out. So my mom was like, well, let me go get the broom. Okay, so she goes to get the broom, and she gets the broom handle, and she starts like poking at him. Come on, guy, get out of there. And he will not come out. And now it's been like 30, 40 minutes. Okay, I am super late for work, which thankfully I have a gracious boss who kind of lets me come and go when I want to within a certain parameter. Okay, I have like boundaries, like here, anytime between this time and this time, you can come and go. So it's not like a super huge deal that I was late for work, but the later I go, the later I have to work, and I didn't want to work super late. So I was like, I gotta go. And my mom was like, no, you're not going anywhere until this thing gets out of there. And I was like, I can't take the day off. No, I know that. My boss wouldn't go for that. He's not gonna let me take the day off because I got a squirrel stuck in my rim, okay? So I'm starting to get more and more impatient. I'm like, I'm going to shoot him. I'm going to shoot this squirrel. I don't know what to do. I can't shoot him because he's in my rim. And, it's just like, there's just nothing, there's no way to get to him. And so, I was like, you know what? He's just going to have to go for a ride with me because I can't do this all day, and he's not coming out, and everything seems to be just aggravating him more. He's not going to come out. And so I was like, he's just going to have to go for a ride. Now here I'm thinking this has got to be, the squirrel has to be smart enough to know when this truck starts up and the thing starts rolling, maybe that's not a comfortable situation and he needs to bounce. That's what I'm thinking. He's going to jump out, he's going to run, and everything's going to be fine. So I start the truck up, and there's nothing. He doesn't jump or run, right? He's just chilling in there. So I start to roll the truck a little bit, nothing. And I was like, okay, you know what? You've made your decision, buddy. Now, before I go any further, you can bounce out of the story now if you want to. Because, I mean, the short end of the story is that he didn't get out and I drove to work, right? And when I got to work, I realized that he didn't make a run for it and that I needed to now retrieve him. I got a stick and I kind of poked him and I was like, yeah, okay. Now this is going to be like a retrieval kind of a deal. And so I'm super mad. And I was like, I don't even know how to get him out of there because he's back behind the rim and there's only these little slots that I can put a stick through, or, I mean, somehow he's got to come out of there, but I don't know how to get him out. And he's not running anymore because he's, I with Jesus. And so I will skip all the rest because I don't even want to talk about the rest. It was I had to try multiple different attempts and ways, none of which worked, all of which made things worse, and finally got to the point where at one point, I was, how do I put this? I was kneeling at my tire with my arm in a trash bag and surgical gloves on, trying to get this thing out of there, and literally was telling myself, this is the worst thing I've ever had to do. This is the worst task I've ever been given. This fucking sucks. I was so mad. I was so mad that this situation had fallen apart to this level, to this degree. I was like, dude, all you had to do was run. All you had to do was get out of there. You didn't even have to take this ride with me. You didn't have to go to be with Jesus. And now I am doing something with my hands that I don't want to. I mean, dude, it was super horrible. And it still didn't work. I was like, I don't know what to do. The bag and the gloves went in the trash, and the thing was still stuck in my tire, in my rim. And now I'm like, I don't know what to do. Am I going to have to take the rim off? I'm going to have to take the tire off. I have to jack up my truck, take the tire off, and I guess I can get them out that way maybe. But then, oh, dude, just the thoughts running through my head. And I was like, I really seriously don't know what to do. Now, what I ended up doing was going for a drive after work. I went to work. It stayed with me all day. Literally stayed with me all day. Ruined any kind of chance for having an appetite. I ate because I had to, but everything was grossing me out. I was like, this is a horrible day. And then I went for a drive after work. And after a really long drive, I stopped and I went and looked at my rim, and he was no longer with us. And so he, I don't know what exactly, where or when or what, but at some point, the retrieval process took care of itself. I guess he was expelled onto the road, and then I drove home and sprayed Fabuloso on every part of my tire rim part, that half of my truck. Oh my God, dude. That was literally like, has to be the worst task I've ever taken on. I spared you the details, but the details in my brain are not spared. That one's going to stay with me probably for a very long time. And I mean, it didn't have to happen. It didn't have to go that way. That motherfucker. He got his revenge, I guess, ultimately, because he tortured me for a full day. Oh my God. Anyway. Yeah. So that was really bad. But hopefully I didn't say too much there. I mean, I tried to spare you this. Let's try to spare you those details, bro, because damn it. That was a bad situation. Anyway. All right. I have said it all, and I've said plenty. Been talking for a long time. But I want to leave you guys with this. Look, if you are the size of Mount Rushmore and you gotta back yourself up into seats like you're clearing brush, can you at least ask the person next to you for permission to plant your elbow into their rib cage? Or better yet, if you're with a scrawny friend, can you just pick the proper seat? Oh, man. All right. Yeah, so we will see you guys on Monday. I hope you guys have a great, solid, super great weekend, and catch you on Monday. Okay? All right. Peace out. The Tamale Mafia podcast is brought to you by me. The Tamale Mafia podcast is on Spotify, iTunes, Podcast Addict, Overcast, and a whole bunch of other places. For more information about the Tamale Mafia podcast, you can find us on Facebook. And to find us on Facebook, you can go to www.tamalemafia.com and follow the links. Our intro music is brought to you by me. Other than that first track that was brought to you by Lim today, that first track, Limn, right? The transition music is brought to you by bensound.com. For more royalty-free music, check out bensound.com. The outro music here is brought to you by Lim. For more mind-blowing intellectual electronic tracks, go to soundcloud.com/getlim. That's Limn. And as always, thanks for listening.